So here we are, the end of 2019.
2019.
Okay, we're about to go into 2020.
Yes, 2020.
How do you feel about the outcome of this year in comparison to last year?
I feel good.
Okay.
I think, with the things that's been going on, I think it prepared me for this year. Especially creating MK Jewels when I created it years ago. And I think seeing it develop the way it's developing, it's becoming an inspiration of mine, because seeing you women come to my classes or even come into the MK Jewel umbrella, it's a drive for me, because y'all growth and the way that y'all experience things, and me being a man still, I still have to understand that you guys are still women. And I think a lot of people say, oh, they want to work with girls in heels and work with girls in general because, mentally look at y'all as Barbie dolls, just dress y'all up, pin y'all up, but they don't understand the emotional side and the mental capacity that deals with you, the stuff that you guys have to deal with.
And the PMS.
So I get really excited, I think it's been a learning experience.
Okay.
With this year, I would say, especially going into the MK Jewels show, it was a huge learning experience for me. Producing the show, creating the show, the concept, the choreography, the idea, and then having a team, and then
literally on show day, you was in your sweats.
Yeah, I was literally in my sweats.
You didn't get dressed up for your own show. You was in your sweats. You was like, I'm gonna do my solo in my sweats.
In my sweats. And I think, a lot of people don't understand, people can complain, they can sit here and they can say a lot of different things about, me as a choreographer, me as a person, or even the brand of MK Jewels. Mm-hmm. But they don't realize, if they were in my shoes, how would they adapt and how would they execute the things that I've had to execute. And that's the difference between being a person who just said, oh, I want to just dance, I want to put together some girls and do some heels. You got to think about the fullness of the outline. Right. I was told and I was taught about execution and about consistency. So I think a lot of people don't.
Instead of it being just a showcase, it was like more of a production.
Yeah, the production.
You're trying to put on a production, not a showcase.
And then, and that was the thing. That's what I wanted. And I think, because you had to, adapt from just being a dancer and say, I was like, Brandy, I need you to dazzle this. I need you to put together this and costuming.
Just to be on another side of things, mm-hmm. Just going through that whole mantra of wow, it's a whole nother ball game to see how to even mm-hmm. get to that point to have it execute the way it did, mm-hmm. in the production. So
in the production side, and I had to pull it out. I think a lot of people don't realize, you had another side of talent besides just dance,
right?
And I think that is the beautiness of it. I try to teach all my girls to try to tap into other things that you feel like you may not be unsure of, or you just probably
or you might be interested in, but you just don't know how to tap into it.
And I think a lot of people, because all y'all are super talented, y'all all have something, but I think y'all just don't know how to get there, or even try to figure it out and say, okay, what is the next step? Because I don't want to be stuck, and it's not even about being stuck. I think in this day and age, we have the social media, we have the visual things. Everything is such an instant, instant. And you look at Instagram, it's like a program. And you're, not to say brainwashed, but you are, trained to think a certain way. Mm-hmm. And you start tearing yourself apart into pieces. And oh my God, I have to finish this. And if I don't finish this, I'm not accomplishing anything. Or, oh my God, let me see how this is going to go. So I think when it came down to you, I wanted to, which is sad because it gets uncomfortable for me, because I think y'all look at me as y'all teacher, and then y'all choreographer or y'all mentor, but then also it's a side of looking at your peer as a friend. So it's like trying to balance all those things, mm-hmm. and not take everything personal and be like, Mitch, you get on my nerves. You know, and it's like, no, I'm really trying to help you because I want you to grow. I want you to be great.
Right.
And I saw that in you. I was like, Brandy can really make some things happen, and she can create something beautiful.
And 2020.
And when you did that, I wanted that for you. Mm-hmm. So I believe it shook you up some more a little bit, and not in a bad way, just in a happy way. Like, I think that you were just so happy.
When you said, "Oh, do these bodysuits," and I was like, "Well, how am I supposed to do them?" Like, because I mean, I've dazzled like pieces before, but I've never just freestyled on a whole bodysuit. So it was just like, oh, okay, well, all right, well, let's make it so, you know, just don't stick, they don't come off, because we gotta wear these things. So it was just a different lane in trying to figure out those logistics, and like, oh, well, you know, you got to figure out how to do costuming where it doesn't tear apart, or you don't have a wardrobe malfunction. So I guess it was different.
Yeah,
it was definitely something that, you know, I'll definitely see myself doing more of, because I've always wanted to get into production in the first place. But outside of just dancing, that's definitely somewhere where I would explore my talents further, just because I love Beyonce and her gowns. And so,
you know, just piggyback off of everything you were saying, it is hard to kind of balance everything, especially when you have a lot of girls. You know, I mean, you've been there when I started MK Jewels out here in LA. You've seen people stay, you've seen people go, you've seen people leave, you've seen people, you know, just like be whatever. And you've seen my transitions of the brand, where, you know, one minute people didn't believe in the brand, or even if they did, but they had a higher expectation and they realized the process of this brand. And
because you were just getting started, you know, like you're still trying to figure out the logistics and the behind the scenes stuff, and just trying to get it off the ground, because it's still relatively new.
It is. And I think, and that was the thing, you know, people know me for Mitchell Kelly as this choreographer or this dancer from the past, and they're like, well, he should be well resourced and well connected or well respected. But you gotta think about it, when you're starting your own thing, you're starting from scratch. So it's kind of one of those things where people are using Mitchell Kelly and MK Jewels and putting them together, and they're using the same standard as Mitchell Kelly, and not realizing that this is a whole nother entity. You know, Mitchell Kelly is a brand. That is something Mitchell Kelly would never. That's who I am. You know, I'm this dancer. I'm this extraordinary. I guess I'm this creative that do stuff and that creates. But MK Jewels is a brand that not only that I created because of I wanted to, or because people feel like it was a phase, or it was a motive behind it. It was because I've been dealing with women all my life. I've trained a lot of girls who are people favorites till this day on different medias. I've trained and I've given girls jobs. But I didn't have this type of structure. It was mostly behind the scenes, where I booked some girls and say, hey, I'm gonna show you some ropes. I'm gonna get you dusted up and get you together for tours and shows, and I will send you off. Now I'm making this MK Jewels a home base for women around the world, where they need to know how to be groomed, where they need to know how to, you know, care themselves. They need to know what a bevel is. They need to know the difference between dancing in the heel and learn different genres of dancing in the heel. So yeah, it is confusing sometimes, and then, you know, I had a moment where I would get emotional and I would feel hurt about all the things that I may hear or that I may see around, and I never talk about it. I don't really put it, you know, because I'm not the person that's social media, they just vent on everything on social media. I've never been that type of person. I never vented in a way that is disrespecting other people. But somehow I'm always the fighting pillow. And I'm okay with that. You know, I've been okay with that. I just want, once again, when people understand, being in my shoes, it takes a lot, because you have to keep the business going. with the brand of the MK Jewels. You gotta keep the women together. You got to make sure that your team, because your team is dependent on you. You know, from my videographers to my production to my management to my concepts to my designs to my creatives to my assistant to my management team. Like, everybody is dependent on me, even dancers. Everyone is looking at, okay, Mitchell, what is next? What is the big thing? So when people go like this or raw me, and because they may not get their way, or they may feel like, well, it's supposed to be my time and I'm supposed to get this and you're supposed to be giving me this. But don't understand that it is right. Everything's about timing. So I've learned that like my grandma said all the time, don't be anxious for nothing.
Right.
And I never understood that until 3 years ago. Right when my dad died, he was so patient, and I just could not understand why.
Yeah.
But I think now, me being in this place now, that I have to understand and allow people to go through their emotions and to let them be. I can't always be like, well, why it can't be about what Mitchell thinks. And I think that was the hardest part of my time of creating in this year with MK Jewels, because
just dealing with a lot of different personalities and how they feel in the situation while going through the process, and all ventures of what you've been doing, and just having to take, okay, I see how you feel, but I know how I feel too. I know us trying to get through it and trying to get through this thing is just, it was a lot. It was a lot. I mean, just my experience, just through everything throughout this whole year, it's I mean, I have my own goals and I have my own things that I look forward to. So I don't really kind of pay attention to the outside or things around me too much. I kind of always go off vibes and good energy and just the whole enchilada. But just this year, I felt like it was still a good year. It was definitely a growing year for you as far as what we came from last year, and you just putting everything together. Just dealing with different people, I guess, was the thing this year. Just how different people take different things in different aspects, and just being like very in the middle of everything, and just having to just hear like everybody on all sides and every bit of account, and just seeing how they're dealing with what you've created, and like how you created, and how to take it and just to I guess like hone themselves in the experience. So I mean, my experience was it was a good one. There were moments you tried it, but you always do. Like, you even do that in class, but it's just like, there's just moments where it's just like, people had a hard time getting to rehearsals, or you had certain people that just wasn't there all the time, and it's just like, or we had people that dropped out, and then we had to figure it out. And it was just a lot of these first times was a lot of people's first experiences. A lot of people didn't go through these or have had these experiences before, where they have been on a job or a voluntary job, whatever. And so they haven't gone through these certain experiences. And so it was just like going through that, but then the pressure of just having to pull up, I think just took everybody by a different account, because it was just like, and it was kind of draining in a way, like, where it's like you have to come to rehearsal, and in the back of your mind, you're giving up your time, you're giving up, you're taking all this time. 3 months, was it? We did it 3 months, so that was time, and like time people could have been doing jobs, or time, and it was just like, it was all dedicated to that. But it's just, I think what got frustrating was just the different things that we had to go through in order to get there, get that result of the show. I mean, but in order to get to that result, we had to go through those things. And I mean, it makes sense. I don't know, like, how everybody's, how everybody felt about the whole thing, but in my mind, it was just like, it was definitely a lot in order for us to get to that end result. and for so much time to be taken, where it was just like after the show, it's like literally I need to take time for myself and figure it out. Like, so, I mean, you know, it's just,
well, it's true. I mean, I definitely, with me, that's why I was saying
just different people's perspectives.
Just different perspectives, and I feel like a lot of people didn't think I didn't understand that, and it's so crazy because I actually did. I've worked on a lot of jobs in my past where people feel like the reason why I'm Mitchell Kelly today is because of jobs like this. I worked with people like Bill T. Jones, or you know, Tokyo, or Hi-Hat, Travis Wall, Tice Durio, just naming, even Frank Gasson. We've done a video where I had to be on set for 12 hours with no pay because of the fact that he just asked. And that was in my job, and my duty was to make sure as a dancer that this is Frank Gasson. This is the great of who he is. He's somebody that's well respected that I want to work with. So I would do what I need to do. And it wasn't even about me having a motive. It was just I wasn't busy. I wasn't booked. I wasn't sitting down watching TV or looking at my Instagram. I was working. And that opened up other doors for me. Where, you know, Frank, the following month, Frank called me, said, I'm doing a show in Vegas. Cool. I went to New York, audition. No, I didn't make it. But the fact that he called me as a direct, just to know, and a lot of people didn't know about the audition. That was something that was needed. And I think a lot of dancers now in this age is so entitled because of social media, because they feel like they look at the other dancers who've made their mark in certain aspects, but they don't realize what those dancers went through to make those marks. They don't know who they've worked with. They don't know that they had to go through some things. They're just looking at in the moment of now. And that's where it gets confusing, because people are forgetting steps. And they're skipping through steps. And it's just like, either you're gonna eat something from the oven or you're gonna eat something from the microwave. And I think everybody wanna eat something from the microwave because it's fast and it's to the point. But you're missing the flavors. You're missing the taste and the moist and the textures of what you really want.
Right.
But because you're not thinking about that, you're thinking about, I just need this now. And I think a lot of times, of course, I went through a lot during that moment of time. I've created something where what I did was I stopped doing what I was doing as a creative and choreographer. I put my finances in front of a bunch of girls that I don't know, because I believe them in my class. Now, these girls have came to my class. They come and they pay. Some don't. Majority of them don't pay, but they come because I saw something in them. But these girls that people really haven't booked before, they overlooked, or they have not really even seen before, and was like, well, maybe it's not the fact they're not good dancers. They're amazing dancers. Right. It's just,
I mean, Paris Global talked about some of her dancers that she booked for
Rihanna, and they're not booking dancers. So when the process is not as what they think, they're already having in their head, oh my God, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. But you don't know that you're gonna go through hell with me, which I have warned my girls all the time. I'm not the same person in my class. I'm not you're the most beautiful jewel in the world. And you're like,
magnificent. Your dreams gonna come to life. Like, bitch, if you don't get your life together, your dreams ain't gonna come to life.
Yeah. It's different because my class is an environment to train and learn.
Yeah.
That environment was to get it, to perfect it, and to perform, because people were paying to come and see you. It wasn't a free marketing tool on YouTube or
it wasn't
Instagram.
No cheap tickets.
And it wasn't no cheap tickets. It was something that, because you can go on your YouTube and click and watch for free, and they can do that and take y'all choreography and put it in their own class, or take y'all live music and do it in their own class. But it wasn't for that. It was for the world, for LA to see who you guys really were. And I think people forgot that moment, and let alone I had people come from Atlanta. You know, I had Mannequin, she came to do this out of love, and she knew what will bring into this moment, you know, and it hurts me because a lot of dancers are becoming a little bit more entitled, and they are becoming a little more, no, we need this. And I get it. You right, you do need this. But in order for you to become great, you have to go through the process of being great. And I think it's just like ballet. There's ballet 1, ballet 2, ballet 3. That's why it's called beginning, intermediate, and advanced. You can't go from beginner and then go straight to advanced because you're skipping a lot of the fundamentals. Right. That's just like with any other genre, any other job, you're trying to go from here to here. You're gonna lack in a lot of different things. You're gonna miss a lot of different things. Right. So I get.
And the show was that process.
It was that process. And I was very verbal.
Really learn and grasp and really get.
That's true.
A part of, learn.
That's true.
Through a lot of adversity and a lot of what was going on and the dropouts and the reorganizing and all of that. It was good. The talks were a lot.
Was a lot, yeah.
It was a lot.
The one thing y'all will understand, I never gave up on not one person.
True.
I didn't give up on, and as much as the dancers will give up on me, I've never given up on them.
Never given up on
But there were limits, there were principles, there were boundaries. It wasn't my first show. I've done shows before, but because it was women, I had over 20 women in my show. So, but the main core was 7.
Was it 9?
It was 9.
It
was 7, 8, or 9. Yeah, 7, 8, 9 girls. That was the main core. Now, of course, I've had to reconstruct and recreate and rejudge and reformat.
But that was because it was your vision.
It was my vision.
Makes sense.
They don't know how it is to make sure y'all have formations and costumes and music changes and segues and what's the storyline, how it's gonna make sense, is the audience gonna love it, it's gonna be too choreographed, it's gonna be under choreographed. Like, there are things that as choreographers you detach yourself from being a dancer and start attaching yourself becoming a choreographer. And I think my biggest
choreographer or even creative
and
or a director of
a full blown show, blowing your money out, getting whatever they want, costumes and shoes and photo shoots,
the presentation was there.
Yes. So, not saying that they wasn't worthy, because I still believe personally that all my girls are worthy. I think everyone deserves to be loved and deserve to feel like they're important. I think it's all about the perception. This is the reason why we are at this place in dance classes. Because dance classes are not prepping and setting you guys to make sure what if we have what ifs. You have to learn how to adapt. Right. And I think a lot of times
we just need probably more teachers to teach
that. And I think that's the thing where,
because then, like you said, a lot of us not getting booked. I mean, there's a thing where choreographers are just, I guess, what can you say, just pulling out the normal people that are getting booked
because they trust them.
But that's never opening up the door for those that you could possibly,
but also to but now I see why. Because of the perspective and the idea of what they feel like what should happen. When it's like, well, no, that's just like it was one young lady she's not technical. So I'm teaching her how to do some different things, and she's like, well, can I learn what you taught Brandy? And I told her, I said,
Wait.
well, why you want to learn that? And she was like, well, because this is too slow. And I said, well, you don't have the ability yet I can't teach you a double pirouette to go down to the floor to an open second. She was disappointed. She thought that booking me that one time for a private to do that, to be dance like Brandy. And she was disappointed. We gotta really learn those elements, and we gotta really learn those moments of getting it together. That was one of the reasons why I feel like dancers should have a different outlook on classes, because you're right, we should have had a different flow of things.
Yeah. But I mean, that goes with, you building upon the brand and then getting better with every show that you do after. So, I mean, that just comes, that's like write a review about how you felt, and you write the review, and you have to take those reviews, positives and negatives, to make the next show better.
Oh yeah. That's a learning experience.
It's a learning experience.
But then it also got to be a accountability as far as even with some teachers and dancers.
Right.
You can't, even as teachers, I'm hard on my girls because I know and I have experience. I can't be hard on them if I don't know what I'm talking about. Dancers have to accept that and realize that he's doing this or she's doing this because they have the experience, not because, I'm just doing
it. Right.
And that's the thing. And in learning that, easy combo is not gonna make you good.
Right.